Hello, this is Carter Machiavelli here. Today's topic is the EU chat control and the actual truth. Basically, the truth that I am 100% certain about, which is the reason for the EU chat control and why it's being propagated. So, there are many theories online as to why the EU wants to implement chat control, as to why many different countries in the EU are voting for this. And there are theories that the EU wants to turn into a dictatorship and so on, but that's a very vague description. It's not very detailed. It doesn't reveal any kind of strategic plan. Why does the EU want to turn into a dictatorship? There is no real explanation for that in many of these theories. But as of speaking of today, Ursula von der Leyen has made another update on the strategy plan of LGBTQIA, whatever the fuck, inclusion and anti-discrimination strategy plan against LGBTQ whatever. And so in this strategy plan, the Self-Determination Act of Germany, for example, is planned to be extended. And countries that do not agree with the Self-Determination Act, with the extension of the Self-Determination Act, reaching out to minors so that the limits for minors being able to self-determine their gender are lifted and they can convert to any kind of gender they want to by operative means. These countries that do not agree with this and do not support this are planned to be fined by the EU with basically punishment, financial punishment, like the same thing they did with Poland. So Poland did not want to let in any illegal immigrants from the Middle East because Poland wanted to protect their safety. And Poland got repeatedly fined like 22,000 euros per illegal immigrant they did not let in. And funnily enough, this didn't make Poland stop or back down. They just continued rejecting any immigrants and so on. It's absolutely hilarious. And so, the reason the EU wants to do the chat control, getting back to this, is that by this LGBTQI inclusion, by the extension of this Self-Determination Act, the limits of children being regulated by the parents should be lifted. So basically, if a child believes that it is of gender A or B, it can transform into the gender A or B by operative means. And so parents should not have a say in this. Parents should not have any word against it. Same thing happened in Canada, where parents actually got arrested for preventing their child from transforming into gender A or gender B or gender C, if we are speaking the words of the idiots, by operative means. The next step is to prosecute hate speech against LGBTQI or the politics regarding it. So they want to categorize any kind of criticism against the LGBTQ measures, against the Self-Determination Act as hate speech, so they can prosecute it. Now, to keep this short, now that you can put 1 and 2 together, why is this dictatorship kind of censorship for? They already introduced it as a measure to protect children, the Online Safety Act or whatever. This was like, I think the Online Safety Act was in Britain. But the online, the chat control for the child protection. So their official reason is to fight child abuse, but it's not specified what counts as child abuse. And we all know that a law that is not specific enough is not a good law, because it can be abused. So what if parents preventing their children from getting operative treatments to transform into gender A or B counts as child abuse? What if people speaking out against LGBTQ or criticizing the government for the LGBTQ measures they take is counted as child abuse? What if I don't have any ideas anymore, but you can, like, these are the two main topics I came up with, the two main reasons for as why the government wants to control your messages, wants to read your messages, because then they have total control over the LGBTQ agenda they have been planning for the past 10 years. And so this is what I believe the actual truth behind all of this chat control, modern chat control, and why the EU wants to lift encryption. Because the EU wants to make it an EU-wide crime to speak out against LGBTQ and any other kind of gender inclusionist agenda they have. Thank you for watching.